sorry, I brought a cup of tea. I feel quite bad that I haven't brought enough for everybody, but I didn't know how many of you will be here. So I'll just get organised. First thing. 2 or 3 years ago, I was asked by some folks if I would write them some songs. They were putting together a computer-based educational thing for children. And I thought that sounded quite interesting, so I said yes. So they gave me a collection of animal-based characters to write songs for and about. And after about a month, I produced them about a couple of dozen songs, which came as a wee revelation to me, really, because although I've been writing daft songs for maybe 20 years or so, I'd never done it quite so intensively and on a specific theme. So once I was finished with that, I thought, well, I'll have a go at doing something along similar lines for myself. And so for want of a better subject, and it really was for want of a better subject, because as you will find out shortly, I'm not a historian, I picked 1,000 years of Scottish history. And just to clarify, that is the most recent 1,000 years of Scottish history. I'd be fascinated to know what was going on between 5,000 and 4,000 years ago, but I picked the easy fruit, as they say. So it goes from roughly 1,000 years ago to roughly now. And when I first started thinking about it, I thought, blimey, 1,000 years, that's a long, long time. And then I was listening to Radio 4 recently, because that's the type of guy I am. And they were talking about the age of the planet. And planet Earth was just a tad over 4.5 billion years old. And I thought, oh my goodness. In fact, even just today I heard on the radio that they discovered the oldest human footprints outside Africa on a beach in Norfolk, of all places. And they're 800,000 years old. So 1,000 years is just a mere blink of the eye, really. So I thought, well, I'll manage to get that through that in an hour, no problem. So the first thing I did was watch Neil Oliver's History of Scotland on DVD. I nearly said Jamie Oliver's History of Scotland. And just to give me a wee clue as to what had been happening in Scotland when I was looking. And then I set about coming up with the songs. And to do that, I used pretty much the same technique as I'd used on the earlier project. And that was to get my multi-track recorder and put it on my living room floor, just in front of my sofa, and plug in the guitar and the microphone and the headphones. And I had a notepad and paper sitting beside me here on the sofa, which I didn't use very much. And I had a pot of tea sitting on my granddad's kist. For those of you who haven't been in my living room, my granddad's, John Burns his name was, and I inherited his kist. It's a lovely big wooden boxy thing. And I used the tea a lot. In fact, it's alleged that the Beatles wrote the Sgt. Pepper album under the influence of LSD, while I wrote what you're about to hear under the influence of Scottish Blend. So I thought it might be interesting to compare the two works. I was thinking, well, 1,000 years ago, that's kind of Viking times, and as this was hopefully going to be the first of a number of songs, I thought it should be mildly exciting. So that's what I was looking to do, come up with a mildly exciting song about the Vikings. So the first thing I did was foot about with the guitar to find a mildly exciting chord. And that was the first one I tried, E minor, and I thought, that's good actually, because for a lazy guitarist like myself, it only uses 2 fingers on the fretboard, and I thought, that's ideal. And it went nicely to D, which is that one. And I threw in a G as well, because most songs need 3 chords, unless you're in the Mavericks, in which case you get away with 2. And then I started trying to think up some words, or lyrics, as they're known in the trade. And once I had a few sort of words in my head, what I'd do then would be, I'd record it on my recorder thing. And once I'd recorded it, I'd go back and have a listen, you see, and see where it went from there. And once I got the next bit, I'd go back to the beginning and re-record the original bit, plus the new bit. And I'd think, right, where does it go from now? And then I'd get the next bit, and go back to the beginning and re-record the whole thing, plus the new bit, plus the new bit, plus the new bit. And all the time, the song was kind of stretching out, until after an hour or two, don't worry, the songs won't last an hour or two, but the process lasted an hour or two, or the tea had gone cold, whichever was first, the song was finished. And not only was the tune composed and the words all made up, but it was also recorded in albeit a slightly rough and ready kind of a way. But as that's the way I would have done it anyway, it just suited me fine. So, and depending what was going on in my busy life, I'd maybe have a go at another song, or maybe have a day off, and go to a tea room or something. And so that's how it all happened. And you'll be glad to know I'm not going to introduce every song in this work. In fact, I might not introduce some of them at all. I might run one or two together, or two or three together, like a wee mega mix. So if I don't speak to you in between songs, don't worry, I haven't gone in half. Okay? So I've run out of excuses now, I'm going to have to sing to you. But what I'm going to do is just have a wee sip of tea. Right, one mildly exciting song about the Vikings coming right up. The year's 973, the place is bonny Scotland, a windy, wild and weary world, a home to many a clan. Away out in the ocean, Viking longships are approaching, to strike the fear of death to every child, woman and man. They came from Scandinavia, from Norway and from Denmark. In mighty wooden ships they crossed the stormy seas, with murder in their mind and Scotland in their sights. The Viking invasion fleet could do just as they please. The Vikings were not to our liking. We Scots thought we were tough, the Vikings played things really rough. The Vikings, you'd better run away. When the Vikings came to Scotland, they came here to stay. Through Shetland and Orkney and down the Murray coast, the Vikings plundered villages, turned houses into toast. They chopped off people's heads and other bits as well. It was not a very cheery time as far as we could tell. They plunder for silver, they plunder for gold. They take the sugar out your tea, so we were told. They'd steal all your cattle and eat all your sheep. In fact, there wasn't very much the Vikings wouldn't keep. The Vikings were not to our liking. We Scots thought we were tough, the Vikings played things really rough. The Vikings, you'd better run away. When the Vikings came to Scotland, they came here to stay. They sailed round the Hebrides and down the coast of Mull, stopped off at Iona and smashed in a few skulls. Oh, what sort of people would murder peaceful monks? Oh, what sort of people? Great big Viking hunks. Slowly and surely the Vikings settled down. They lived off the land and they fished in the sea. And year upon year they spread themselves around, to leave a bit of Viking blood in you and in me. The Vikings were not to our liking. We Scots thought we were tough, the Vikings played things really rough. The Vikings, you'd better run away. When the Vikings came to Scotland, they came here to stay. Thank you very much. I ended on a wee E major there, which is one I didn't tell you about earlier. The reason I did that was because I thought, well, after that rousing opening number, I should go to something slightly more mellow. So I wrote a wee song, a daft wee song really, and I'm going to sing it. It's written from the perspective of a wee guy who's around in those days. And the song's called My Grandad Was a Viking. And I know it seems a shame to sing it now, really. And it was going to be sung in E, someone. But just yesterday afternoon, I thought, that's a bit low. I'll change it to G. So I've changed all the chords. So maybe yesterday afternoon was a bit late in the day for that kind of behaviour. But I thought, well, what's the worst that can happen? Play a wrong chord. So if you count the wrong chords, whoever gets the right answer wins a Ford Fiesta. My granddad was a Viking, and he sailed across the sea, and he bumped into my granny just up a bit from Dundee. They started going steady, and they had a family, and one of their 10 children was my mum. My mum's name was Lizzie, and she kept herself real busy, mending clothes and cooking food for everyone. Then my mum met my dad, a fine Pictish lad, and I was born one snowy winter's morn. My dad became a farmer, and we built a fishing boat, and we kept a cow, and 2 sheep, and a goat. We worked hard on the land to grow the crops we planned, and Very soon I grew to be a man, and that's how life goes on. And then before too long, I had 7 children of my own. As I gaze out to the sea, and I watch my children grow, I realize just how lucky I am. Hey. Well, no wrong chords, and there's nobody in this hall more surprised than I am. The next song I wrote was one about Macbeth, and I'm not going to sing it. It's been edited out because it just went on and on and on and on. I think because I didn't have very many historical facts and figures in that last song, I just crammed everything I could find out about Macbeth in the Macbeth song. And quite honestly, you'd be quicker reading Shakespeare's Macbeth. And it lasts about 2 hours. Although it's not as historically accurate as my song. But I think the historical accuracy was the downfall of the song. So, suffice to say that Macbeth was a real person. He was born in 1005, and he was the King of the Scots for 14 years, thereabouts, and he was quite well liked, unlike Shakespeare's character. And he was also quite well travelled. Him and Mrs. Macbeth went to Italy, where they met the Pope. And it was when they were abroad that people kind of ganged up on him a wee bit. It was a wee bit of a conspiracy, led by a man called Malcolm Canmore, who was also known as Big Head, for some reason. Perhaps he had a large head. And it's on Macbeth's return, there was a bit of a battle between the army of Malcolm Canmore and Macbeth's army at a place called Lumfinans in 1057, and Macbeth was mortally wounded and died, which is what happens when you're mortally wounded. And so I'm going to sing you a song now about Malcolm Canmore. That's okay. And he went on to marry a lady who was to be a bit of a Scottish hero. And this might be one of my mega mixes, I'm not sure. I'll decide later on. Malcolm Canmore became King Malcolm III. He was also known as Big Head to his friends. He loved fighting battles and doing roughy-toughy stuff, and hanging about with big, strong, hairy men. But he fell in love with a beautiful lady, a lovely girl, and Margaret was her name. Now Margaret knew a thing or two about language and religion too, and funnily enough loved Big Head just the same. She married the king, and so she became the queen, Queen Margaret of Scotland long ago. She founded some churches, and when it came to learning, you could always say Queen Margaret's in the know. She taught folk how to read, and how to write as well. She even had a go at trying to paint. She did so many marvellous things when she was alive, that when she died she became a saint. Queen Margaret's Drive, St. Margaret's Hospital, Queen Margaret's name lives on in Scotland still, although she doesn't. Meanwhile, down south, not far away, Edward the First was heard to say, "What's that up there, just over the border? I'll tell you folks, I fancy some of that." Edward the First was more than a little barmy, but he managed to assemble a mighty English army, and they took to their feet, and they headed up north, and slowly they invaded poor old Scotland. But William Wallace was having none of that. He didn't want the English in the Scottish habitat. So here's what he did. He went round and round all the villages and ferns, round all the towns, and he gathered all the folk who thought Edward was too smarmy, and together they formed a Scottish army. And and they fought the English wherever they could find them. They attacked them from the front, and they crept up from behind them when the English invaded Berwick-on-Tweed. By the time they were finished, there was 20,000 Scots who deed or dumped in the sea, or flung into pits, and that's how they treated poor old Scotland. But Wallace and his soldiers were a hooking and a burling, and they splattered all the English while they crossed the bridge in Stirling. But later on at Falkirk, things didn't go their way. The Scots were defeated, and Wallace was betrayed, and he was captured by the English and taken away to London. And the next bit is nae for the squeamish. Because first they hanged him, this giant to a man, and then they chopped his head off and they boiled it in a pan. The remainder of his body was hacked into four. The bits were sent far and wide, and Wallace was no more. But one thing is certain, he'll never be forgotten. The Scots will aye remember Mel Gibson, William Wallace. What was going to happen to poor old Scotland knew. They didn't hae a leader, they didn't hae a clue. Things were looking grim, way the English on the loose. An ideal opportunity for a man to become king, and that man was Robert the Bruce. Thank you, don't clap. That was just a wee intro. Now, I might have mentioned Mel Gibson at the end of that. And I did think it was kind of odd getting an Australian to play William Wallace, but I had this wee notion which just really appeals to me. You know, Robert the Bruce, I think De Bruce was French, was it? De Bruce or something? Was it anybody? I don't know. Anyway, but I thought how cool would it have been if Robert the Bruce had actually been Australian and he would have been Bruce the Bruce. That just would have been so cool to have a king called Bruce the Bruce. Anyway, I remember when I was a wee lad, and I don't know that we made a special trip there, but we ended up at Bannockburn, I suppose, where the monument is to Robert the Bruce. And there's two things I remember about it. One is that it was enormous, which most things are when you're only this tall, you know. And the other thing was that he was sitting on a horse. And I'd only seen two people sitting on a horse up till then, or two horses actually up till then. And that one of them was the Virginian on the from the television programme that name, on the black and white telly on the Friday night. Another one was Krampus, who was a Virginian's pal, played by Doug McClure, who maybe came from McClure, I don't know. And so I think there must have been something going on in my subconscious when I wrote the song for Robert the Bruce, because it's got a kind of a country and western kind of sound to it. Which I thought, well, you know, there's a lot of country music fans out there, it'll do no harm to broaden the appeal of my Scottish musical history. So you can just imagine me as Robert the Bruce with cowboy boots and spurs and a Stetson maybe. And I'm afraid to say, against my better judgment, I went with Sir Walter Scott's version of Friends. And I'd like to dedicate this song to Freya, because I think she's in the audience somewhere. And I know she sings it. I was sitting in a cave one day, feeling rather blue. You see, I had to defeat the English, and I didn't know what to do. Then I spied a little spider, trying to climb his web. After several goes, he turned to me, and this is what he said. If at first you don't succeed, then try a little harder. The answer that you're looking for might be just around the corner. Don't give in, and don't give up, give it your best shot. and soon you'll see that just like me, you'll make it to the top. So I fought a battle with the English, and the English won. So I fought another battle with the English, and the English won again. So I fought another battle with the English, and lost battle number 3. It was then I remembered the spider in the scale and what he said to me. If at first you don't succeed, then try a little harder. The answer that you're looking for might be just round the corner. Don't give in and don't give up. Give it your best shot, and soon you'll see that just like me, you'll make it to the top. So I fought another battle with the English, and I'm afraid to say we lost. So I fought another battle with the English, and we paid a terrible cost. The English were doing all the winning, but soon it must be our turn. In 1314, just near Stirling, at a place called Bannockburn. If at first you don't succeed, then try a little harder. The answer that you're looking for might be just around the corner. Don't give in and don't give up. Give it your best shot, and soon you'll see that just like me, you'll make it to the top. So after all the battles with the English, now that the fighting's done, we had a revolution, and in the end we won. A free and independent Scotland with the right to its own king. But sure enough, when the going gets tough, I'm certain I can hear him sing. If at first you don't succeed, then try a little harder. The answer that you're looking for might be just round the corner. Don't give in and don't give up. Give it your best shot, and soon you'll see that just like me, you'll make it to the top. Soon you'll see that just like that wee spider, you'll make it to the top. Very kind of violent times, and thankfully it's not quite as bad as that round about here now. It's still quite violent in other places in the world, but not around here. And I thought it must have been pretty grim being a woman in the context of my musical history. And not knowing when your husband or your father or your son went away or your brother went away to one of these battles, armed to the teeth, whether they were going to come back minus an arm or a leg or a head or whatever. So I wrote a song called It's No Easy Being a Woman. And I'm going to sing it to you now. It's no easy being a woman when all your men are dead. Nae one to find you shelter, share a loaf of bread. My husband, he was taken, and my brothers in the earth. It's no easy being a woman today. It's no easy being a woman with hungry bairns to feed. It breaks your heart, you try your best to satisfy their needs. It's no easy being a woman when you're left here on your own. It's no easy being a woman today. And ye wonder just what all this fighting's for. Surely we'd be better without war. It's no easy being a woman when all your men are dead. It's no easy being a woman today. Well, first came James the first, and after him came James the second. then it was King James III, then it was James IV. The Stuarts had arrived and they took up the Scottish throne, but being kings they wanted to rule Scotland on their own. But Scotland at this time was two very different places, the Gaelic-speaking Highlands and the Lowland-speaking Scots, but the Stuarts had ambition to rule from coast to coast, and so against the Highlanders began to scheme and plot. The MacDonalds ruled the Highlands, yea, and the Western Isles. They ruled from nearly Ireland and went on for miles and miles. But slowly and surely the Stuarts ground them down, till the poor old Gaelic Highlanders knelt before the crown. When James IV got married to the daughter of the English king, you must admit he was a man with style. He had influential friends in the highest places. He'd become the King of Scotland and the Lord of the Isles. Now you might have noticed I said the MacDonalds ruled the Highlands, yay, and the Western. Well, the reason I went yay is because my granny was a MacDonald. Maggie MacDonald, her name was, and she's one of my heroes. She was just one of these folk who just kind of overflowed with common sense and knew what to do. And I would be quite happy if my granny MacDonald ran the world. She had 4 sons, the oldest of whom was my dad. And after my dad was my Uncle Dave, who lived for a long time on the Stanley Myrtle Road. Well, not on the road, obviously. In a house beside the road. Uncle Dave wasn't daft. And after Uncle Dave was my Uncle John, who lived round in Willowbank in Little Dunkeld, with my Auntie Janie. I'm sure some of you may know of John and Jenny. And the last of the 4 brothers was my Uncle Jimmy, who lived up in Dungarthel for a long time, and latterly down at Pittensorn, just in between here and Murphy. And Uncle Jimmy died last summer. He was the last of the 4 remaining brothers. And they were all kind of gentle guys as far as I can remember, and I think that had a lot to do with the way my granny was. In fact, she used to live not 200 yards, and was very building around in Gladstone Terrace, because when my granddad, Jack Davidson, retired from the farm where I grew up down here in Stanley, when they retired, they moved to Gladstone Terrace for a wee while, and then they moved to Waterloo. Why they went to Belgium at that time of their life? Nah, I'm only kidding, it was Waterloo then road. And we used to go and visit loads, and she wasn't a drinker, my granny, but at New Year, she would give me and my 2 sisters and my brother big tumblers of sherry, and tell my mum it was non-alcoholic. And we'd all get drunk, when I was about 5. Now that's how I remember it, but I'm thinking about it now, and I think it was probably just those 3, and by those 3 I mean my 2 sisters and my brother, probably told me it was sherry. But it was actually raspberry cordial. And I got drunk on it anyway. Because the strongest I'd had up to then would be cremola foam. Which is not something you see a lot of nowadays. It's probably banned by the EU. Where was it? Oh, Scottish musical history, I remember now. Right, I'm going to sing you a song which I wrote, and it's called Scotland in the 1500s, and it's about Scotland in the 1500s. And on the face of it was loads of kind of modern things on the go in the 1500s, but we still had some pretty weird and wonderful ideas. Not like now. And I think this song is in waltz time, so if anybody would like to waltz on this little bit of bare floor out front here while I'm singing it, then I'd ask you not to, because it'll screw me off. Scotland in the 1500s was the place to be. You could play a round of golf or learn some poetry. Go a-roaming in the gloaming and be home in time 14. And if you'd pots of money, go to university. You could learn to be a surgeon, or maybe an engineer. Build ships for the navy, or castles everywhere. But although we're educated, the first mistake that you make and will drag you off to some dungeon well, we'll burn you at the stake. You see, Scotland has some way to go to the one we know today. But although the progress was slow, we were on our way. Jolly good. We had to control the Highlanders with our elegant charm, and a little ethnic cleansing never did no one no harm. Then it's back to university to read the law and the arts, and learn a little Latin, a mill, a maths, a mat. You see, Scotland has some way to go to the one we know today. But although the progress was slow, we were on our way. Hurrah! Scotland in the 1500s was the place to be. You could play a round of golf or learn some poetry. Go a roaming in the gloaming and be home in time 14. And of course we still fight the English every opportunity. And of course we still fight the English every opportunity. James IV, King James V, of course. His daughter was the next in line to reign. She was crowned at 1 year old, which is absolutely ridiculous when you think about it. A beauty, so we're told, and Mary, Queen of Scots, was her name. Oh, I am Mary, and I am hairy. Hairy Mary, Queen of Scots, that's me. I was made the Queen of France, but given half the chance, back in Scotland's where I want to be. Oh, Mary, I don't lose your head. That would be scary, and you'd be dead. You can lose your temper, lose your way, lose your mind, that's okay, but never, never, never lose your head. The Reformation, sweeping o'er the nation, it was all about religion, you see. John Knox was adamant that Scotland was Protestant. You can't be a Catholic queen, he said to me. Oh, Mary, I don't lose your head. That would be scary, and you'd be dead. Well, you can lose your temper, lose your way, lose your mind, that's okay, but never, never, never lose your head. I caused so much hassle, they locked me in a castle on an island in the middle of Loch Leven. They took my crown away, but I escaped one day to England where my cousin was the queen. Oh, Mary, don't lose your head. That would be scary, and you'd be dead. Well, you can lose your temper, lose your way, lose your mind, that's okay, but never, never, never lose your head. Elizabeth the Queen was the grumpiest I'd seen, paranoid I'd steal the English crown. And so she put me in the dock and put my head upon the block, and she ordered that the axe come down. Oh, Mary, you've lost your head. That was scary, and now you're dead. Well, you can lose your temper, lose your way, lose your mind, that's okay, but now you're gone and lost your head. Well, after Mary, Queen of Scots, her son became the king. King James VI of Scotland, he was chuffed as anything. They said he was quite clever, and he knew what to do when they asked him down to London to be King of England too. They called it the Union of the Crowns. 1603 was the year. Well, who would have guessed it? A Scottish king in London. Wallace and the Bruce would have good reason to cheer. They called it the Union of the Crowns. 1603 was the year. Well, who would have guessed it? A Scottish king in London. Without a single battle, there's good reason to cheer. divide 1,000 years by 60 minutes, it works out about 6 minutes a century. But I'm going to try and do a century in about 3. But what usually happens with this one is it gets faster and faster and faster, and I get all tongue-tied. It's just a mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and start it a bit slow, okay? And we'll see how it goes. So here's a song called the 1600s. It's about the 1600s. There is something quite uncivil about a civil war. Everyone was fighting and no one knew what for. Some were fighting for the Parliament and others for the King. And some folks just like fighting because they quite liked fighting. The 1600s, the 1600s. Everyone was fighting and no one knew the cause. Everybody's fighting everybody else. What a funny old century it was. The Scottish Covenanters, Cromwell and the King, each one with an army and keen to get stuck in. A civil war in England and one in Scotland too, and then the Welsh and the Irish joined in the how-do-do. The 1600s, the 1600s. Everyone was fighting, religion was the cause. Everybody's fighting everybody else. What a funny old century it was. From the Braes of Killiecrankie to the massacre of Glencoe, the violence went from coast to coast, there was nowhere you could go. England was a republic, now the monarchy was dead, after Cromwell captured Charles I and then chopped off his head. The 1600s, the 1600s. Everyone was fighting, maybe money was the cause. Everybody's fighting everybody else. What a funny old century it was. When the Scots took Charles II and crowned him their new king, Cromwell conquered Scotland as mad as anything. The killing time went on till nearly everyone was dead. What a silly old century it was. The 1600s, the 1600s. Everyone was fighting and no one knew the cause. Everybody's fighting everybody else. What a funny old century, a funny old century, a funny old century it was. Early in the 1700s, Scotland had a notion to set up this wee colony on the other side of the ocean. Panama, it's known today, but things were different then. The Darien scheme took the cash of many wealthy men. All the Scottish how-do-dos put money in the scheme. It was the biggest gamble that they had ever seen. And guess what? They lost it to the Spanish and the English. We were skint and vulnerable, the worst we'd ever been. And so to line their pockets full of English bribes, to satisfy their greed, it was political suicide. They sold Scotland down the river, unashamed at what they'd done, and took the vote that England and Scotland now were one. They called it the Union of the Parliaments. 1707 was the year. Well, who would have guessed it? A Scotland rule from London, a rule that would continue for more 300 years. They called it the Union of the Parliaments. 1707 was the year. Well, who would have guessed it? A Scotland rule from London, a rule that would continue for more 300 years. Just 20 years after the Union of the Parliaments, it was a very, very dark time for Scotland, the United Kingdom, and the world in general. Because 1727 saw the formation of a band of rogues and vagabonds and robbers whose centuries of pillaging subsequently was to put the Vikings into the shade, make them look like a bunch of amateurs. In fact, I am, of course, talking about Royal Bank of Scotland. or RBS, to David's cuddly name. I mean, if we'd only known, 1727 could all have been sorted out with half a dozen guys with big swords. Too late now. Or is it? takes me neatly or otherwise up to the Jacobite thing. Now, I don't pretend to know very much about the Jacobite thing, unlike all the other subjects I've sung about. But I have been to Culloden, and Culloden's quite an interesting place. And if you haven't been, I can recommend it. Next time you're up in Inverness, go along to Culloden and have a look around the battlefield. They've got an exhibition place and a tea room. And they sell little clansmen made in China. Brought over in big containers to Felixstowe docks. And, but no, wandering around the battlefield is quite a moving experience. Excuse me. And what struck me about it was it's also kind of close and immediate. And they've got it all marked out, who's where, and it's like the size of a football pitch, and you've just got hundreds of guys just on it, hacking each other to bits, and it's like, oh, good grief. It's quite horrific. But as far as Bonnie Prince Charlie goes, I don't really know very much about him, although I see him more as a kind of a Freddie Mercury figure. And I'm a big fan of Freddie, well, note some on first name terms, and what with Freddie singing a cover of The Great Pretender, and Bonnie Prince Charlie being the Young Pretender, I thought, oh, there's maybe an opportunity for a parody there. So I'm going to sing you The Young Pretender. Oh yes, I'm the young pretender, pretending that I am the king. Charlie's my name, rebelling's my game. Speak bonny boat like a bird on the wing. Oh yes, it's the Jacobite rebellion of 1745. Dressed up like a Barbie, I got as far as Derby. It's no wonder so few of us were to survive. Way back in the beginning, when I landed at Glenfinnan, we took Perth, Edinburgh and Preston Pans. And oh boy, did we smile when we captured Carlisle. But the Duke of Cumberland made us change our plans. Oh no, the end was Culloden. In April the following year, a lot of men cried, a lot of men died. But dressed up like a woman I disappeared. Across the sea to sky, then on to France, reflecting on where I'd gone wrong. The chances I'd missed because I was half drunk. This was the Stuart Swan song. Oh yes, I'm the young pretender, pretending that I am the king. A lot of men cried, a lot of men died, but the memory of Culloden lives on. Oh yes, the memory of Culloden lives on. Oh yes, the memory of Culloden lives on. Late in the 1700s, there was lots of money to be made. Way tobacco and sugar coming from America, and we were in the business to trade. Tobacco and sugar made money for the few. They built big fancy houses, aye, but no for me and you. Tobacco and sugar relied on the slave trade, but you didn't worry about things like that when there's money to be made. When the Glasgow traders crossed the ocean, they were well and truly on the make. They struck dodgy deals with the farmers, in fact they robbed them blind, and took whatever they fancied to take. Tobacco and sugar made money for the few. They built big fancy houses, aye, but no for me and you. Tobacco and sugar filled many a Glasgow purse, but meanwhile in the Highlands things went from bad to worse. 'Cause first they banned the wearing o' the tartan, banned the playing o' the bagpipes too. Afore too long they started banning people, there was nothing that the Highlanders could do. But tobacco and sugar made money for the few. They built big fancy houses, aye, but no for me and you. Tobacco and sugar relied on the slave trade, but you didn't worry about things like that when there's money to be made. What was going to happen to the Highlands now? Where woolly-minded landowners who didn't have a clue, with their minds set on money and the rewards that they'd reap, they cleared 50,000 people and put them onto boats, replaced men, women and children with sheep. Tumble-down cottages scattered on the shore, they used to be our homes, but sadly are no more. Herded onto boats, bound for Nova Scotia, never to see the Highlands again. What was going to happen to the Highlands now? It was one enormous sheep farm with the occasional Highland coup, a playground for the rich who loved to shoot the stag without those pesky people in the way. Tumble-down cottages scattered on the shore, they used to be our homes, but sadly are no more. Herded onto boats, bound for Nova Scotia, never to see the Highlands, never to see the Highlands, never to see the Highlands again. Fishing and farming, mining and weaving, we built canals and bridges, we built ships on the Clyde. Jute, jam and journalism, banking and tourism, dockyards and railways that crossed the countryside. The cotton mills of Scotland were the biggest that you'd seen, an industrial revolution fair a Clyde to Aberdeen. Telephones and tarmac had them, geniuses Scotland had them, steamships and factories, the cities grew and grew. The Forth Brig, the Royal Mile, the River Tay, the Western Isles, scientists and politicians, aye, Scotland had them too. The first international football match of 1872 saw Scotland playing England, and I'm afraid to say they drew. Crofting and engineering, whaling and mountaineering, the Scottish folk were educated better than before. Machine guns and mustard gas, bayonets and tin hats. We produced so much stuff, we had enough to fight a war. If you see a war memorial in some village or town, then stop for a while and hey, a good look round. You'll see our names engraved in the stone, but although our names are there, we died far from home. I was just 19 when I left the farm, and I marched a war to Belgium wi' a gun slung o'er my arm. Given the choice, I'd rather be a hand the blue, but I'm stuck in the mud, in the fields of Flanders now. The factories of Scotland were all working double time, producing all the tanks and shells and bullets and mines. They made a killing out of killing, and their profits grew and grew. But I'm stuck in the mud, in the fields of Flanders now. I was just 19 when I left the firm, and I marched a war to Belgium wi' a gun slung o'er my arm. Given the choice, I'd rather be a hand the blue, but I'm stuck in the mud, in the fields of Flanders now. When we arrived in Belgium, we spent 6 weeks in a trench, up to our kilts and gutters, and full of rats and stench. Then we were given our orders, and were told we mustn't fail. So we went o'er the top to capture Passchendaele. I was just 19 when I left the firm, and I marched a war to Belgium wi' a gun slung o'er my arm. Given the choice, I'd rather be a hand of blue, but I'll be forever stuck in the fields of Flanders now. It's no easy being a woman when all your men are dead, nae one to have family, share a loaf of bread. My husband, he was taken, and my brothers in the earth. It's no easy being a woman today. And ye wonder just what all this fighting's for. Surely we'd be better without war. It's no easy being a woman when all your men are dead. Another war's the last thing that we need. But 20 short years later, it all started up again. It seemed that we'd keep fighting till we ran out of men. It's no easy being a woman when all your men are dead. It's no easy being a woman today. Thank you so much. Steelworks and factories, shipyards and foundries, Scotland was a workshop for all the world to see. But mining was in decline, the shipyards on borrowed time. 1 million were to emigrate by 1933. We built a road bridge o'er the Forth and one across the Tay. We'd hydropower and North Sea Isle to keep the cold at bay. Desperate Dan and Highland Games, road signs with Gaelic names, the A9 to Inverness and skiing at Glenshee. Fish and chips and haggis suppers, fancy kilts and tartan slippers, rugby and football and the SNP, comprehensive education and the NHS. Did we want our Parliament back? The answer of course was yes. Oor Wally and the Bruins, Jimmy Shand and all his tunes, computer chips and battleships, Scotland made them all. Whiskey and golf at Troon, Cayley's and the Stone of Scone, Midgie Bites, the Northern Lights and rain and sleet and snow. The people are the heart of Scotland, everyone can see. A nation made of individuals just like you and me. Wind farms and mountain biking, shinty and go out hiking, Loch Ness and Bending Dewey, mince and tatties too. Porridge and a piece and jam, cups of tea and boiled ham. You'll never find a better place to live for me and you. Except maybe the south of France, which is this. And Western Australia, New Zealand, America, Norway, Vietnam. Keep an open mind, that's what I say. Keep your options open and an open mind. Well, I've come to the last song. I don't know how the time's going. Oh, look at that, it's bang on 9 o'clock. I've come to the last song of my musical history. I hope you've enjoyed it, and it goes like this. Where does Scotland go from here? What does the future hold? In another 1,000 years, what stories will be told? Do you think that we'll be happy? Do you think that we'll be free? Do you think that we have learned by looking back at history? Will there still be countries? Will there still be greed? Will there still be famine with so many mouths to feed? Will we still have money? Will there still be guns? When will we see that there could be enough for everyone? If at first you don't succeed, then try a little harder. The answer that you're looking for might be just round the corner. Don't give in and don't give up. Give it your best shot, and soon you'll see that just like me, you'll make it to the top. We could live in harmony, the whole wide world o'er. Live like one big family and show what friendship's for. We do well to remember just what did Robbie Burns say, that man to man the world o'er will brothers be one day. Man to man the world o'er will brothers be one day. If at first you don't succeed, then try a little harder. The answer that you're looking for might be just round the corner. Don't give in, don't give up. Give it your best shot, and soon you'll see that just like me, you'll make it to the top. Soon you'll see that just like that wee spider, you'll make it to the top. Okay for singing another song? Phew, that's a tough question to ask. No. Thank you very much. Before I sing this last song, I'd like to thank one or two folks. It's going to be like the Oscars now. I'd like to thank Wendy Huggins, who promoted tonight's fundraising event for the Bun Mats. She put in a heck of a work. A lot more than I did, and so thank you very much, Wendy. And I know that Marilyn and Cam helped out front of house, and there's other folks as well, I'm sure. So thank you very much indeed for doing that. And I'd also like to thank Liam for up there for doing the lights. Just a quick word about the raffle. If any of you bought raffle tickets, we're not going to have a sort of public draw of the raffle, but the winning tickets will be attached to prizes on a table in the foyer, so please check it before you go, just to see if you won a prize. And there's no rush away. I think the bar's going to be open for a wee while, so check the table before you go, and hopefully you've maybe won a prize. Or a treat. Anyway, and the last folks I've got to thank is yourselves. Thank you very much indeed for coming along and listening. If you've enjoyed listening half as much as I've enjoyed playing, then I'm really sorry for such a tenor. No, but it would have been the same without you. Thank you very much indeed. So I'm going to sing you this last song now. It's a song I wrote a few years ago. and it's based on a true story. And if I feel like I can never show my face in Burnham and Dunkeld after tonight, again, then I'll see some of you sometime soon. I was busking in Perth High Street just the other day when I saw a man approaching who I hoped would go away. He was driving a wee street sweeper and he was giving it full throttle, leading himself a merry dance, trying to pick up a Coke bottle. He chased it round a wheelie bin and he chased it round a tree, and he chased it across the precinct. He was heading straight for me, with his bristly wee brushes bubbling round and round. I yelled to him at the top of my voice the following helpful sound. Stop and pick it up, I says, oh how do you know, just stop. But the man didn't hear me as I calmly blew my top. He gripped tighter on the steering wheel and he gave it a bit more throttle. What I would do if I got my hands on the one that dropped that bottle. He chased it down the high street, the bottle bouncing this way and that. His sweeper career in all ways, he hoovered up a cat. Several empty crisp books and some dodgy looking tissues for running over the toes of the man selling the big issue. Shouted, stop and pick it up, he says, oh how do you know, just stop. But the man didn't hear him as he calmly blew his top. He gripped tighter on the steering wheel and he gave it a bit more throttle. What I would do if I got my hands on the one that dropped that bottle. He chased it over the Queen's Bridge and then back across the Tay. That wee plastic bottle bouncing every other way. He chased it out the Dunkeld Road, out past the grammar school. He was halfway up the A9 when the sweeper ran out of fuel. So he gets straight onto his mobile and says, "Hey, you joking, Jim?" He explained the situation that had now befallen him. This was the most stubborn wee bottle that Jim had ever seen. Now he was stuck up in Blair Athol, somewhere about Calvin. John said, "Stop and pick it up," he says, "so Fair Island to Shetland, you should have seen him go. Then to Reykjavik in Iceland, where he slowed up by the pier. And then down across the Atlantic, while towing a water skier. Who shouted, "Stop and pick it up," he says, "oh how do you know, just stop." But wee Jim didn't hear him as the skier blew his top. He gripped tighter on the steering wheel and he gave it a bit more throttle. What I would do if I got my hands on the one that dropped that bottle. They swept through the Gulf of Mexico and through Brazil too, into Guatemala and on into Peru. He was halfway up the Andes when he saw that the job demands he would go up to that wee bottle and pick it up with his bare hands. Yeah! Stop and pick it up. He thought, oh, how did I know, just stop. I've been chasing that bottle around half the world and it's made me blow my top. Well, the moral of the story is be kind to folk like Jim, and when you're finished with your rubbish, put it in the bin.